Tracie. Today I am here with two journals that I have just finished. They are nature journals, kind of like field notesy type of journals, and they are both using a bunch of Tracie Fox's kits. The base pages for these come out of her Silhouette kit, which is one of her older ones, but I'm telling you, if you don't own it, it is a great kit. It's got some great background pages that I use often with other kits, just as like to print on the backs of things. They're just this beautiful neutral kind of toned piece, and so you'll see them. I'll point them out as we go through here. I've also used a couple of her newer kits. I've used some of her text and number snip strips. Those are brand new. She just came out with those. And then her nature definition labels. Nature definition labels. And her large entomology labels. I love those. You'll see those all throughout both the books. In addition to that, I've used some of her bumper butterflies. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. I'm sure that I've used more kits. Those are just the ones that I remembered to snip, and I know that I've used the full Silhouette kit a couple of times throughout here. So like some of these things, but like here's one of the new snip strips that she's got, which are awesome. So I've used those. I've used some of my die cuts in here and some Tim Holtz papers and stuff. So anyway, I've got two of them. I've got this one is a 4 signature journal, and this is a single signature journal, and we will look through them both. Let's just start with the smaller of the two. This one will be listed in my shop as Silhouette, as that is the little tag that I have listed on there. They are both hardcover journals with fabric reinforced spines. They're covered with just some Tim Holtz like memorandum paper, and then I've made just this big collage piece on front with some old nature book in the background, die cut, some butterflies, just some texture. This is this really cool thing that I got when I was unbinding some books. This is like a kind of like a cheesecloth, but it's that, oh, the word is escaping me. Anyway, it's like stiffened, so it's what they use on the spines of a lot of older books. And so I've got that, and then it's got kind of a canvas on the spine, so that like double reinforces it. And then it's got one of my little pop open closures here. So there is a, oh my gosh, you guys, words are escaping me right now. Hitch post fastener right here. And then the strings go back and they go through these two eyelets back here. I love making this kind of closure. I did this a while ago, and like a couple years ago, and I just have loved it. So it is tied with just some twine here, and you can untie that and loosen it as you add stuff to this book. I definitely did a good job on both of these of not making them alligator mouth, so you have room to add stuff for sure. And so you just pop this open. You can untie it every time if you want to, but that'd be a pain. It just pops. If you press this down, it pops off. So let's take a look inside. So like I said, these are kind of just like a more of a kind of a creamy take on a nature journal. There's not a lot of like green or color, bright color in here, and this was super fun to do, this kind of version of it. In the front we've got a little library card that could be your ex libris type of thing, and I've done some layering there. This is Tim Holtz paper that I used for the end papers. And then we've got, these are some ATC like journal cards and things that I just have in my stash. And then this is part of Silhouette. So like I'm saying, if you don't have that kit, it's a great kit. And these kind of papers go well behind so many different things. Here's one of the entomology labels. Then I just made this pocket with some die cuts and stuff. Look at this piece. See, that's what I'm saying. That worked so great to put on the backs of almost anything. If you're printing a kit out and you're doing some sort of vintage, there are a couple different pages like this that are just light and it gives it some interest, but it's great to print on the back side of ephemera or on the back side of your main kit pages. So like your main kit, and then you do these lighter ones on the back. They go with so many things. Here I did some paper weaving with some of my scraps and put one of the Entomology labels and layered up some fabric and such. I did use some of her fussy cut mushrooms as well. I usually always have a tray of fussy cut butterflies and mushrooms and stuff from Tracie's kits. This is embossed paper. There's another one of the fussy cut mushrooms. And then here's one of the botanical, oh, what's it called? Let me double check. Nature definition labels. So this one is botany. And they're another great way to kind of lend the feel of like a nature journal. Here's one of her big labels. This is this cool like genealogy book that I have. So you rip out and it gives, you know, it's a way for you to chart your genealogy, but they also just look cool in journals. Here are a couple of little journal cards that I have. That one's layered up with a whole bunch of stuff. And they go in this pocket. I also use some of Tracie's tea cards, some of her nature tea cards. And then here's another one of those little text snip strips. Oh my gosh, text snip strips. That is a mouthful. Try it right now. Text snip strips. Oh my goodness. So then I have used some of her just plain number labels, random number labels as well. I usually have those around. Here's one of the bumper butterflies. Here, down here with all kinds of fun stuff behind it. I've really been loving sewing over cheesecloth and a bunch of random strings. And this canvas provides you endless amounts of the stringy mess. So I just gloop them up and put them behind and glue them down or sew over them. And then these small papers like this are all a bunch of end papers. So, you know, when you take a book apart, you end up with, like, in the front, there are often a couple of blank pages and in the back as well. So I saved those, and I had a whole pile of them as I was cleaning out my studio recently, and I came across a whole pile of them. So they all have different weights to them and different textures, and they feel really cool. So that'll probably be really fun to write on as well. This is a page from Silhouette. So like this is one of the main kit pages where it's definitely kind of naturey. But then here's another one of those background pages that I love. I've put some die cuts in here. Then I used one of the large entomology labels and made a little pocket. And this is one of the tags that you get. There's a little hidden journaling spot there. That's in Silhouette, one of her tea cards. And then I used some of my giant shipping tags, and I just sewed lines on there for you to journal. That's kind of one of my it's a fun sewing project. And that goes behind that belly band. Then here on this little nature book page, I've got a little tag that I made. And that's all just clustered up. And there's one of the Snip strips. Another Entomology label. And one of the great things about Tracie's kits, especially like the labels and things like that, is you usually get them in a full color version, then black and white, like plain black and white, so you can print it on whatever kind of background you want and customize it to what you're working on. And then you get kind of this muted, it's almost like grayscale, but it's not. It's like sepia toned kind of. And that's kind of what I've used through this book to make it this cohesive kind of creamy sepia colored nature. So these are some of her mushroom cards, and I've just created this little journaling card by layering some stuff up. And then I have this old nature book that's got a bunch of cool black and white foliage kind of stuff. So I used that a bunch of places. These, I cannot remember whose shop I got them from, but I love them. I mean, I love mushrooms, but they're great. They're like 4 to a page, and they're great. This is one of the tags from the Silhouette kit. And this is just some die cuts here to make a pocket. I've used some Tim Holtz washi as well on the edges of some of the pages. I layered up some tags. So this is, these I used an embossing folder with ink on it to create this image. And then I've layered up some of the snip strips and some book pages and some of the tags from that kit, the silhouette kit, to make pockets. And this is one of the pockets from there as well. And then again, these are from an old nature and entomology dictionary that I have. Then I have some really old masking tape type stuff that comes out of, again, from a book binding. It almost kind of looks Band-Aid-y, but I thought, wouldn't it be cool to, I have long strips of it, so I snip it into smaller strips and glue it down to make it look like, you know, you've taped things into the book. And then here in the center of the signature, I took 2 of the tiny little tags that you get in the silhouette kit and tied them to the end of the strings just for some added interest. This also is some of that book page. This one's got such a great texture. I wish you guys could feel it. It's so cool. You know, you definitely can't see it. There's no way for me to show you, but here I've got some more of the mushrooms. These I fussy cut out of her mushroom cards. So there are some mushroom cards, and then I go in and just fussy cut out around those as well. Here's another pocket with another tag that I made, embossed and layered up with some snip strips. And those are the bumper butterflies. There's another text snip, another label. Then I've vintage music paper in there too, obviously. Here's another one of those journal cards that I made. Just layering stuff up. Some fussy cut mushrooms and labels. Entomology. Here's another page of that. This is about bumblebee wings. This is an old tag that I made. This is probably the most color in this whole thing. But I had it sitting up here on my desk and I thought this is the perfect book to throw it in. It'll provide the one little splash of color. Then here I've got a couple layered pockets on this page. This one's got just another layered or embossed and inked tag. This is one of the fold open tags from the silhouette kit. Then I used a couple, the entomology labels are so large you can use them to create pockets for little things like tea cards. So that's what I've done here. Both of these have some tea cards. And again, these are those perfect creamy kind of sepia colored ones. And then here's a little bird tag that I've backed with coffee stained paper. This is some more of those beautiful silhouette kits. Like I said, it's one of her older ones. You might have to flip through a few pages on her in her shop to find it, but it's worth it. It's a great kit. These are little embossed raised seals that I've got a little embossing cutter die. I don't know what you call them. They cut and emboss at the same time. Some more of that cool stringiness behind there. And we've got a lovely big butterfly flying off the page. In this big pocket, we've got another one of those giant tags that I've sewn that you can write on, and then another mushroom tag. Another one of the tea cards and some more. This is some more of the genealogy paper. Then I've used one of the entomology labels kind of as a tab. It's another great way to use them. Fussy cut mushroom. More of that awesome book page. And labels. And then here we've got a big open up journaling space here. So you can write in there. You could enclose things in there. And then behind it is a pocket. And I just took one of the silhouette tags and I popped on some little circle reinforcers and an eyelet in there. And that goes behind here. This is some vintage music paper from a children's music book. And then on the back, I've taken 2 of the large silhouette tags and put them sideways to create pockets. And in there, I just have some of these little sewn and backed tag journaling cards, and then some of the Tracie's mushroom cards. I think it's toadstools, I believe, is that kit is toadstools. And again, in this one. So this is what I'm saying. I'll take this and I'll fussy cut it out. And it's the brilliant thing about digitals is you can print them over and over again. Here I would fussy cut this, and then you have it as both a journaling card, but you also have it as an element. Here's that closure in the back. There's my maker's mark, and that is this one. It is 6x9, and it has 56 pages, and it will be called Silhouette, because that's the word that I have on this one. Then this is the bigger one. It has a sari silk tie just wrapped around it, exposed stitching on the signature, and that's fabric reinforced. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere. This is a hardcover journal with some Tim Holtz paper as well, and then this large collage piece that I made up top. And this has just got a whole bunch of stuff collaged. Book page, some washi, some different Tracie images, some die cuts, some embossed paper back here. This is a piece from Silhouette, some stitched canvas. Yeah. And this one has the word butterfly on it, since, you know, big butterfly. So this one will be listed as butterfly. This one is also 6x9, but this one has 124 pages. It is a 4 signature journal. So let's look through this lady. I tried to keep it kind of grungy and messy, and I love the edges of this book. I mean, this is like one of my favorite things about journals is I like having cool, interesting edges. So when you flip it open, you can see all the interest here. And this one definitely does that for me. Some Tim Holtz paper here. There's just nothing on the front cover. The library card for this one is in the back here. So there's your kind of ex libris. And let's just take a look. So I've used some of the Silhouette. I've used the same Silhouette kit in here and made some pockets. Made a lot. It's mostly the same types of elements in here, just done slightly differently. And we got a ripped up shredded tag that's been collaged with T cards and snip strips. Some labels and some old project paper on there for journaling space. I've used the T cards as kind of just tabs on the edges of some pages too, just to give some interest falling off the sides here. There's a bunch of fibers and stuff collaged on the front of this pocket. And then I used one of the old book pages that said fungi grow everywhere to make a, you know, mushroom. Oh, a fungus tag. And then here's one of those giant sewn journaling tags. Then die cuts. This is again this is a really thin like end paper book page here. Again, will probably be super smooth to write on, and I've used T cards as a tab there. Then there are some small little strips that you get with the Silhouette kit, and I've used them as tabs a couple of times in here over some canvas, some vintage music paper. I also have an old encyclopedia, a nature encyclopedia, so I've ripped some little pictures out of there, and you'll see those throughout. This is more of that awesome book end paper. I've done some random sewing along the edges just for some interest, a lot of little collages. Here's hemlock, some more of that lovely dictionary, or it's an encyclopedia. Then I've got another tag up here, so I've got an embossed, stained and embossed, and then I've just created kind of this collage on the front of there. And hole reinforcers, and that's clipped in with this little bulldog clip. Silhouette and some of the, I've used some of the old nature book as big tabs and stuff too. T cards. Here's another, this one was ripped as I pulled it out, so I thought I'm just going to leave it like that. And there's a little piece of book page right there. In this big pocket, I've got it collaged up on front. And then I made on this piece of embossed paper, I used some fussy cuts and some labels and some pieces of that nature book and made a tag for that, excuse me. And then I used one of the Silhouette ones, and I just labeled up some of her, layered up some of her some random number tags and some hole reinforcers that I punched out. Here's another example of T cards as a tab. It just kind of adds interest, and it gives, you know, extra layering. I've also used some little stamping throughout in a few places. Vintage graph paper. Oh, I did hang over the end a few times too, just to kind of give some interest on the bottom as well. Here's a pocket that's made out of that book. It says Patch Cutting of Forests. So I kind of just tore around the edges, and I used one of those big emblems on top of this tag to make it add interest. This is an embossed index card. What do you call those? The ones with the little, like it's a recipe card almost. Oh, there's a word for it. You guys, words are escaping me this morning. And there's another one of those large entomology labels. Here is an envelope that I have embossed, layered up with some die cuts. And inside I made just, used some of that book page and made a little journaling card. And a text, or a random number snip strip, I think that one is. Oh my goodness. You ever have that feeling like, should I be filming right now? Yeah, that's what this feels like. This is an old vintage paper clip. They're like made of wrought iron. They are so strong. Here's another one of those little snip strips. They're perfect for just adding in little places. They're so awesome. There's signature ones, text ones, number ones. It's awesome. Then that's the flap of the envelope that I just covered with some vintage book page. Fussy cut mushrooms. I've got a little mini pocket here with a mini silhouette tag and a tea card. I find those are great places to pull out and just write a little tiny note of the date of something and just a little small little memory. They're great places to add just little things like that. And this is a flip out. I imagine like someday somebody flipping through here and finding just little tiny notes, you know, like little things that you've written down, little ideas. There's some stamping. This is an envelope that I had that had been sealed shut, and so this part kind of ripped, so I just reinforced it with some book page and ran it through the embossing folder. It's amazing what we'll do to save something sometimes, isn't it? So there you go. There's the book page there that I've used. Then I got some really old tissue paper from my friends that send me the junk boxes, and I've torn that up and used it a bunch of places here too. More of that genealogy paper. This is more book paper. This is very thin. You can see kind of wrinkling where the glue went through because it was so thin. I was trying to use very little glue, and just even the littlest bit made it kind of wrinkle. But it's awesome. Here's silhouette. And then here's one of the silhouette background pages. Some more of that awesome nature encyclopedia. This one says sapling, and it's a little tiny branch. There's a big, nasty, ugly bug, but you know, a lot of people find that stuff interesting, and I think it fits, it has its place, so it's in this nature journal, but ugh, I hate bugs. Here, this is a random Tracie tag. It's probably from Layered Tags or something. I can't even remember what kit, but I had it in my random Tracie pile, and so it went in here. And I just zhuzhed it up with some die cuts and other things. And it is in the pocket from the silhouette kit here. Here's another big bumper butterfly. It's a flip out page. More of that beautiful silhouette kit. Tab with layered up with some of those little strips. Then behind this canvas belly band is another one of my big sewn journaling tags. And on here is some old book page and some of that vintage tissue paper and a bumper butterfly. More die cuts. Here's a big die cut pocket. And I've got some eggs and some shrooms, toadstools. Then here on the beginning of the next signature, I've got a big glassine bag that I put through the embosser with some ink and then layered it up and collaged it with all kinds of stuff. And then I used some Tim Holtz offcuts that have some different insects and stuff on the back, and made a couple of journaling cards to go in the glassine bag. And here we've got another short page that's got one of those medallions on it and some Tim Holtz washi. All the washi's reinforced with glitter glue because I just don't trust washi adhesive. It's too weak. This is the most color you get in this book, that little hint of red. Then I've got some more T-card tabs going on there. Oops. And here's a giant tag that I sent through the embosser, and then I layered up with die cut and then one of Tracie's bumper butterflies, so it's a little dimensional here. And then some of the number strip, that one's random text, I don't remember what they all are, but and then one of the Entomology labels. Another bug, those are from Silhouette. This is this awesome scrapbook paper that I have had around for a long time. I also used a bunch of the Silhouette tags to make some of these layered tags where there are 3 tags together. So this one just has the design she did. This one's got some book page and die cut. This one's got one of the butterflies that comes in that kit. Then I've just layered them up and bound them together, and they're in here with this little Tim Holtz baby paper clip. Some stamping, more of that ancestor chart. In the center here I've got one of the big butterflies, and then some of those strips that you get in the Silhouette kit. Another stamp. Some more sewing along the edge of that paper just to add interest. Pinned in here is another one of those mushroom tags and that cool butterfly paper again. Oops, on the back of that is another one of the big stitched journaling tags. And some more of that, old book tape stuff that I've made it look like it was, mushroom was taped on there. On the back side here, we've got a big pocket with a bug tag and a small pocket with a little flower tag. Here's another side of that ripped top paper that I just kind of left like that. You get these circles in Silhouette, so I've used them back to back to create a tab there. There's some bunch of just collaged up papers here making this giant pocket with this beautiful die cut. This is a die cut that I have. So that's layered on top, so it gives it this great texture too. And it creates a pocket, and I've got a tag in there. Then on the front of this last signature, we've got a little tiny envelope, and it's got a little bird's nest tag in there. And these are from the Silhouette kit as well. So that goes over there. Then I've used some book page and die cuts to collage up there. More Tim Holtz washi and one of the big bumper butterflies. This is one of the corner pockets from Silhouette, so I've got another giant sewn tag and some mushrooms in there, and then this little Entomology label forms a tiny pocket for this cute little floral tag. This is Indigo from the Nature Dictionary or Encyclopedia, or that's the family group sheet. More bookend and with some die cuts and labels. Then here I took the negatives of my die cutting and I put some of that nature book behind it, so you kind of look like foliage. Layered up some fabric and such, and put some journaling space on the back. And that's in this embossed pocket. There's lots of texture in this book, which, you know, if you know me, you know how much I love texture on things. So yeah, this I made a long time ago. This is a coffee filter that has been stamped and then has beeswax on it. And they have such a great feel to them. Again, this is another thing that I found as I was cleaning out my studio. So I thought this is a great place to put that in here. Then we've got another little envelope in the center of the signature. It's the same kind of little card in there. I'm not gonna, for the sake of time, I won't open it up, but another little collage. Here's the other side of that great coffee filter. Then I've got a giant belly band here. Again, I used the negative from die cut. I put it over some of that, this is Vintage Dictionary, I believe, and made that into a giant belly band for another one of my sewn giant journaling cards. Some more of that end paper, a die cut, some more of the ancestor paper, little stamping. There is the hemp plant. Then in this little tuck spot, I've got one more giant tag and some more mushrooms that go in there. Here we've got a butterfly coming off the edge of this paper. One more little die cut and one last page of silhouette. Here's that background again. And here is another one of the woven tags that I made, and I layered it up with one of Tracie's large Entomology labels. This is another negative over book page, and I turned that into a belly band. And then, like I said, here's my maker's mark and my your library card, and a little stamping on there. So that one is Butterfly. That will be how that's listed in the shop. These will both be available as soon as this video goes live. So if you don't see them in there, then it means they're gone. So thank you for looking if you do. Thanks for joining me today on this little flip through. I will have all of the kits that I used from Tracie's shop listed below, as well as a link to get to her shop. I do hope that you go check these out. I hope that you enjoyed them, found some inspiration. I will be back within the next day or two here. I've got a couple of things planned to do with you, some crafting, and also just a couple things. I'm kind of excited to take this next little journey, and it, well, I'm not going to preview it too much, but it'll be fun. So anyway, thanks for looking at these. I hope you guys have a wonderful morning or afternoon or evening or middle of the night, whatever time it is, on whatever side of this globe of ours that you live on. And hope that you're healthy and well, and that you're able to be creative today and be with the ones that you love. I hope your weather is better than ours. We've had like nasty, crazy blizzarding high winds for the last 3 days. It's supposed to be spring. It's supposed to be track season for my daughter, but it's whatever. It's Minnesota, and what do you expect? Anyway, guys, I hope that you're well. And until I see you guys next time, take care, stay safe, and God bless you. Bye, everybody.